So Qifang was started in the middle of 2007. I'm one of the co-founders. And myself and my co-founders, we were really driven, really motivated by a simple idea that you shouldn't need to be rich to go to school. You shouldn't need to be rich in order to maximize your full potential, realize your educational dreams. And what we realized as we looked at with our own business backgrounds and our own technology and web startup backgrounds is there's a real opportunity to use technology to gather the interests, the support, and ultimately the funds of other Chinese people, $7, $10, $20 at a time, to pool the capital that any student would need, generally on the order of, say, about $500 for 1 year of school fees, and let people, one by one, have a chance to realize their educational dreams. And so that's what we did. In 2007, we built that web platform called Qifang. And we've been helping students one by one help realize their educational dreams and therefore transform their own earning potential and the expectations for themselves and their families and ultimately their communities as well. And I wanted to actually springboard from my own story about Qifang to talk a little bit about that idea that you mentioned, John, this change in the culture that needs to happen in order to encourage innovation. So based in Shanghai, where I have been for the last 7 years, I think one of the huge challenges in our economy in China, and I think may have relevance in other places as well, is how to make that leap towards creativity and innovation. China's, of course, had an economic miracle for the last 30 years or so based on cost differential of labor, essentially. Doing things cheaper and sending it around to the rest of the world. But as part and parcel of that, growth has come from copying what other people do. And so in the web, where I live, China is famous for copying Facebook or copying Twitter or copying Google. And what I firmly believe is that purpose and values will be how we can untap real innovation in China. And I say that because those of us who want to do things differently, those of us who are willing to take chances and be entrepreneurial, we're always going to face challenges. We're always going to have hardships and be discouraged at certain times. It's those of us crazy enough to be driven by higher purpose who can work through those challenges when everyone else is telling them how crazy they are, can keep going, and actually think of things differently. And so I think, and I really believe that social innovation in particular, but the class of young entrepreneurs in China who are willing to think of things differently and be driven by purpose and not just creation of wealth are going to be where that next wave of growth is going to happen in China.
Good. Let me follow up quickly while you have the microphone there. How difficult was it to find funding for your concept? Were people open to the idea that as an entrepreneur, it's a phenomenally strong business culture, but to step out into the social entrepreneur space to launch?
I think this is one of the particular challenges in China, and I think in other emerging markets, is there really isn't a developed ecosystem for early stage financing of any kind of project, social or for-profit. There really isn't true risk capital that's willing to take an idea, take a project, and watch it grow. I think part of it is around that kind of idea of culture of failure or comfort with risk. But in general, as well in China, we have had a general bias towards, low-hanging fruit, big returns on low risk. So I think that's changing as valuations have gone up, and I think that'll be where the bulk of new opportunities are going to be.
Good. Thanks very much.